Hello, Sir Ken. Good evening to us
Hi, Miss
and
Joan. Good evening. So, to all our viewers around the globe, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Okay. So, again, I am Engineer Rod Kenneth Vilubong. I am a former design engineer in a boiler and the pressure vessel manufacturing here in the Philippines. I was also a former project management supervisor, and currently I am the plant manager in an LPG refilling, repair, and requalification plant. No? But up to now, I am a project management enthusiast. As a matter of fact, I am currently taking a dual master's degree of master's in business administration and master's in project management at Escuela de Negocios Europea de Barcelona. That is a self-paced and online study. Okay, so tonight we will be talking about optimization of project management, initiation, and planning. So if you happen to see my talking head video, I said there that project management is a topic that is commonly discussed on conventions, conferences, webinars, and even on the internet and social media. The very reason is because the engineering workplace and the engineering industry operates mainly on projects. That necessitates the discussion of project management. But amidst all of this, or amidst of all of those things, there are still a number of projects that decline and continue to fail. So for tonight or for today, what we will be talking about is how are we going to optimize project management, initiation, and planning, and let us learn why projects fail and how to get them right. Optimization of project management, initiation, and planning. What goes wrong, and how to get them right. Okay. So our learning objectives for today. Number one, we want to determine the significance of initiation and planning in the overall project life cycle and project success. Number two, we want to identify the common mistakes during the planning stage of the project, determine its derailing effect on the project, and determine corrective measures. And finally, we want to identify further strategies on how to optimize project planning. We will first discuss some definitions of project management. I'm pretty sure most of you who are working on project management have already defined by yourself what is project management. But today, we will be looking at the definition on on the perspective of professional organizations. Okay. Second, the planning stage and its significance in the project life cycle. Third, why project goes wrong, and finally, how to get them right. So let us first have the definition of project management. Project management is defined as the process of steering a project from the start through its life cycle. As simple as that. But from a global perspective that involves several project management governing body as well as organizations, let us look on how they define project management. So according to Project Management Institute, PMI, this is the organization that is issuing the PMP certification or the project management professional. I'm pretty sure most of you are accruing for that certification. Good luck on that. According to PMI, project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. While according to IPMA, or the International Project Management Association, project management is the achievement of project objective that requires deliverables to conform to specific requirements, including multiple constraints such as time, cost, resources, and quality standards or requirements. While according to Association for Project Management, or APA, APM, if I'm not mistaken, this is UK based, United Kingdom. They are the chartered body for project profession, and they define project management as the application of processes, methods, skills, knowledge, and experience to achieve specific project objectives according to the project acceptance criteria within agreed parameters. Project management has final deliverables that are constrained to a finite timescale and budget. So these are just some of the definitions of project management according to some renowned project management organizations. And if we are going to get the common denominators of their definitions, we can see that project management is about the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to meet project objectives and deliver the required deliverables the within the multiple constraints. So those are the common elements on these definitions. Now let's talk about the planning stage and its significance in project lifecycle. A project management plan is a formal, approved document that defines how the project should be executed, controlled, and monitored. It is a summary or a detailed document and may include baselines, subsidiary management plans, and other planning documents. But before we proceed on initiation and planning, let us first define the project lifecycle. Of course, it starts with the initiation, followed by the planning or the blueprint of the project. Next is the execution or the actual implementation, and we have the control and monitoring, and finally, we have the closing. One thing that we should take note about project lifecycle is that it doesn't go linearly, or meaning to say, one doesn't go after the other. It happens parallel or it happens simultaneously. While you do the execution, there are still some elements of planning or the anticipation or the contingencies. And while you do the execution, you are also doing the control and monitoring, and finally the closing. So that's why the illustration we have today is not a linear representation of the project life cycle because it doesn't go linearly. It doesn't happen linearly. There are stages of the projects that are happening simultaneously. So we now go with initiation and planning. What is project initiation and what is project planning? Project initiation is the first step in starting a new project. During the project initiation, we establish clearly why are we doing the project and what business value will it deliver to the organization. And then we use that information to secure buy-in from the project key stakeholders. During the project initiation, we define our project at a high level in order to demonstrate its business value. Again, we are using that business value to secure buy-in from the project stakeholders. And once we convince our key stakeholders and prove to them that the project is feasible, we now move on to the next stage, and that is the planning. Planning is when you define the specific objectives, the deliverables, and the project roadmap in a more detailed. Think of it this way. You want to provide enough information to secure approval during the initiation phase, and then you spend the next time ironing out project planning details after you get the green light. What is that green light? Yes, that is when you secure the buy-in from the project key stakeholders. So let us ask ourselves as project managers, why project goes wrong? There are many complex and long-term projects that still fail to live up their promises or to deliver the deliverables and produce disappointing outcomes upon completion. I know for a fact that most of you, if not all of you, most of you who are project managers have also experienced tactics in their career to manage or to handle projects that failed. Why? We have gathered the 8 common reasons why projects fail, what goes wrong in the project. And first of them is the unrealistic estimates. An unrealistic estimate will cause insufficiency in all of the project needs, in all of the project resources. For instance, confusing impossible deadlines and budgets with aggressive project planning and performance is one of the costliest errors in projects. But why do so many estimates wind up so far out of the line? Meaning to say, it goes beyond what is actually needed. Although causes can range from poor decision making by inexperienced project managers to simple miscommunication, one thing is sure, one thing is clear. If you know what leads to unreasonable estimates, you stand a better chance of preempting problems before the schedule is built. So that's the first reason, unrealistic estimates. And when we talk about estimates, we are not just talking about the budget, we are also talking about the timeline because time and cost in the project goes hand in hand. No one is alone. No one is left behind of those two important constraints or two important variables, time and cost. Okay? So what are the causes of unrealistic estimate? Number one, lack of experience. A certain project manager said, of course, we can do it in 6 months. Okay, without the idea of what is actually needs to be done. This is a classic case of a project manager offering or agreeing to an erroneous estimate without knowing what he or she is talking about. If a project manager lacks experience, he may also lack knowledge in various areas, and that includes number one, the target environment or technologies, the working environment. What kind of people are you working with? What are the technologies involved? It might be a novel technology. Number two, the development languages, tools, or platforms. Maybe the project requires a software that the project manager is not familiar with. Number three, the skill level of the available resources. You have to consider the skills and talents of the project participants or the people that will be working with the project. Number four, the related business or political issues. Number five, the fundamentals of the software development process. This goes with number one. Okay? So if a project manager lacks experience, he or she is bound to create an unrealistic estimates. Okay? Number two, or second cause of unrealistic estimates, organizational dysfunction. One of the prevailing root cause of unrealistic estimates is organizational dysfunction. It happens when an organization practices behavior that are self-defeating. Okay? So one dysfunctional characteristic includes managing by fear. So for instance, if an executive or even a project manager has committed to a project being completed in 6 months, do you want to be the messenger who gets shot? Okay? If you don't understand what does that mean, if you happen to read about the emperor's new clothes, okay? So the emperor's new clothes is a story about, okay, everyone is afraid to tell that the emperor is actually not wearing any clothes, okay? But because of the two thieves, no, they manipulated the emperor. No, they convinced the emperor that he is actually wearing a clothes, although everyone cannot see the clothes. No, what they have told the emperor is that only intelligent people can see the clothes. But in fact, there is no actually clothes being worn by the emperor. And everyone is afraid to tell the emperor about the truth. Okay, that is what being shocked or getting shocked by managing by fear means everyone on your development team or everyone on your team is afraid to tell the truth. As a result, the most absurd estimates will simply be accepted. Okay? Number three, poor communication. There can be excellent project estimates that includes meticulous details for effort, schedule, cost, and scope, and even quality requirements. Unfortunately, the underlying assumptions or prerequisites that these estimates were based on were not always communicated effectively or are not understood within the organization. Okay, so here are some factors that must be taken into account when communicating the estimates to your project management team. The dates that key people will be ready to start the project and how long they will be able to stay on the project. Okay, or meaning to say the project duration, it must be communicated to the project team. Number two, the fact that people may need to pull from other duties to work on the project. Okay. Number three, the organization's ability to recruit and retain developers with the right skill level. Sometimes when the project runs uh, on a long duration, at the middle of the project implementation, there are certain talented people that resigns or are being pulled out or are being assigned to another project that derails the project itself. Okay. Number four, the necessary education and training that must be made available to the team. Number five, high-level business requirements that are accurate and fairly stable. Number six, the developer tools that must be in place and appropriate to the planned development task. Number seven, the development processes that need to be efficiently applied and designed for effective outcomes. All of these things, these are just some of the factors that must be taken into account when communicating the estimates to your project team. Okay. Second of the reasons why projects fail is poorly defined project scope. Okay. Simply talk, the project management team are not aware of the scope of the project. And we have this thing called scope creep. It is when additional features or functions of a new product, requirements, or work that is not authorized is added beyond the extent of the agreed upon scope. Changes in the project scope is normal to the project management. No? That's why we have this thing called change management. But sometimes when changes or additional scope of work are added to the original scope and are not authorized or not properly documented, that is when scope creep happens. Okay? It is generally considered a negative occurrence to be avoided. Scope creep occurs when changes are allowed without proper impact analysis or risk analysis and without reviewing schedule and cost implications. This is common with repetitive minor incremental adjustments, meaning to say there are some minor revisions or some minor additional features during the implementation of the project, but the project manager didn't notice that that minor additional features happens frequently and accumulates into a large additional features. Okay, and the project budget and schedule are not kept synchronized with the effort involved in the changes. So that's the second reason or second of the common reason of project failure. Scope creep, additional features, repetitive minor incremental adjustments that are not defined, not properly documented, and not properly controlled. And budget and schedules for that changes are not considered seriously. Okay. Third, fuzzy goals and objectives. We have said a while ago that during planning, the project objectives needs to be specific. But a project would not most likely begin without first identifying where you want to go and mapping out your route. A lack of direction and unclear goals and objectives are among the common reasons of project failure. Unclear goals are part of the communication problem that continues to plague many workplaces and were also cited as the number one cause of stress for project team members. I know for a fact most of you can relate to this. No? If anyone doesn't know the direction of the project, they cannot perform their best work. Fuzzy goals and objectives can lead to absenteeism. Why? Because you are no longer motivated, because you don't have the clear picture of what needs to be achieved. It decreases your productivity and cost you higher health care. It can even cause team members to change careers. And that's another problem. Talent retention on your organization, on your project team. Okay? So fuzzy goals and objectives. A lack of direction, unclear goals and objectives, that is just one of the common reasons of project failure. Number four, ineffective leadership. A project manager is a leader, okay? And the project is more likely to drift if you, the leader, the project manager, lacks enough experience and training, has no strong lead, and you yourself is the first unmotivated. Leadership is an important value in the success of the project. That is one of the critical success factor in project management. But ineffective leaders, on the other hand, can do a great damage. Their actions or inaction can hurt morale, employee engagement, and bottom line business results. Signs of being an ineffective leader includes communication problems, inability to make decisions, poor performance, lack of conflict resolutions, quick to blame, slow reaction to change, lack of focus, comfortable with the status quo, doing the work themselves, and lack of accountability. These are just some of the common symptoms or signs of an effective leader. Here we have the traits of ineffective leaders. Number one, aggressive. Being aggressive is sometimes uh, good in the project management if it results in motivation and establishing action plan. But if it resorts to bullying behavior, it can be a negative traits for the leaders. Number two, boastful. Ineffective leaders or ineffective project managers take sole credit for the success of the team, even if they didn't help achieve the outcome. Number three, competitive. Again, competitive sometimes can be a positive trait if it entails motivation and inspiration to the project team. But if it is mistakenly encouraging unhealthy competition within the team, it decreases the productivity. Okay? Number four, controlling. Ineffective leaders may micromanage employees or in terms of project managers, they are micromanaging their project management team because they feel the need to involve themselves in every area of the project or think that they can do a better job than others. Number five, emotional. Okay, ineffective leaders may react emotionally to situations rather than rationally. Okay, there's this thing we call emotional intelligence. Okay, ineffective leaders may express excessive anger or sad emotions when confronted with stressful situations. Take note of this. I have read this to one of the project management books I have read before. That one of the signs of a matured project manager is that they handled stressful situations properly. Okay? Take note of that. Number six, immature. Ineffective leaders may be immature in their language, dress, or communication with coworkers or habits. This may lead to a lack of respect from your project management team, or it may also lead to inability to accomplish important tasks. Number seven, inarticulate, meaning to say the project manager has poor written or oral communication skills or both. They may not understand the best ways to talk to employees in person, or they may not know how to best convey thoughts in memos or emails. Number eight, non-committal. Ineffective leaders may avoid committing to projects or deciding on plans to avoid choosing the wrong path. They are not committed. Number nine, they are also not productive. Ineffective leaders or project managers may lack productivity or a performance record in their current or past positions. And number 10, they are pessimistic, meaning to say they are thinking negatively. Okay? So those are the traits of an effective leader. Number five, lack of effective communication skills. But before we proceed, may I ask our technical support? Am I still audible?
Yes po,
Okay,
proceed lang po tayo.
thank you. I hope you guys are taking some notes on our discussion for today. And number five, lack of effective communication skills. A while ago, the first reason, an realistic estimate, we have said that one of the causes of unrealistic estimate is poor communication. But this time, we'll be dealing on the lack of effective communication skills. Lack of communication can create misunderstanding, missed out opportunities, conflict, and the dissemination of misinformation and mistrust. Communication is key, especially in the engineering workplace or in the project management workplace, where people need to be on the same page and be working toward the same ultimate bigger picture goals. Working remotely, okay, which happens during the pandemic, it was prevailing during the pandemic. Most of the people are working remotely. It brings the unique challenge to good communication as well. Pretty sure most of you have experienced that, huh? But often this skill is lacking, which can lead to a whole host of issues at work. Things that can arise in due to lack of effective communication skills include misunderstanding, low morale, and the grapevine effect. Okay? Number six, poorly defined roles and responsibilities. When roles and responsibilities of team members are not clearly defined, please do not expect them to be productive. Okay? Lack of clarity among team members regarding their respective roles, responsibilities, functions, and the expectations they hold of one another when working together. There is no such thing as shared responsibility. More so, the thing called shared shared accountability. No, everyone on the project management team has their own roles, responsibilities, and functions. But role conflict still occurs when workers are given different and incompatible roles at the same time, or their role overlaps with another work or work group. This is what we are saying a while ago, the shared responsibility. Okay, I want you to take notice of that thing, incompatible roles. It is important that you identify the strength and the strengths and the weaknesses, the talents, the skills, the experience, and the entire credentials of your project management members so that you can allocate to them the rightful roles and functions. The greater the role conflict, the higher the likelihood of a worker experiencing work related stress, which in the long run can derail the entire project itself. Okay? So take note of that. Number seven, inadequate risk management. Risk management is actually one of the uh, 10 uh, project management body of knowledge as prescribed by Project Management Institute. But if you have inadequate risk management, it can cause delay in project schedule, overs- overspent costs, and eventually project failure. Risk management is built into the audit process as it enables project managers to identify and evaluate concerns, anticipate problems and challenges that may have surfaced during the course of the project or during the implementation of the project. Poor risk management has the ability to severely impact your project success, whether that's through a delay to project benefits impacting your revenue and profit streams. Poor risk management has to be avoided at all costs. Okay, so there should be a comprehensive anticipation on all courses of the project implementation. And lastly, we have insufficient resources. I know for a fact, maybe most of you will say that this should be the number one, insufficient resources. This is the most common problems in the project management, no? Insufficient resources. And resources can be anything. It's not just financial resources. It also includes human resources, materials, tools, and equipment. And the situation that brought you to make your resources flexible to the breaking point can have many causes. Resource planning is the process in which tasks are allocated to resources. Take note of this. Tasks should be allocated to resources. When you are doing your planning, when you are doing your MS project, each task and subtask should be allocated with resources. The goal is to maximize your resource efficiency while providing an overview of resource availability and capacity. But on the other hand, ineffective resource planning ruins the project in many adverse possible ways, which include uneven resource utilization, lack of an overarching strategy, and having not enough room for change and budget overrun. This is also this is also somewhat related to risk management. Okay, you don't have the sufficient room for change, and your budgets are overrunning. Okay, that's insufficient resources. And those eight are the common reasons why projects fail. Now, let us talk about how to get them right. We all understand the common reasons why project fails, but it is not only meant to be understood. What's more important is to get rid of them. How? Number one, comprehensive project estimates. The first reason why projects are failing or why projects are failing is because of unrealistic estimates. How to get it right? Let's have a comprehensive project estimates. In engineering companies, there are people designated as proposition engineers. They are the one responsible for estimates of the project. It is important that your proposition engineers have exceptional aptitude when it comes to technicals to be able to come up with a comprehensive and generous project estimates. Number one, do the research. Prepare a list of high-level tasks you believe will need to be accomplished on the project. You have to see firsthand by yourself or by your team how will the project be implemented or executed. Okay? Then identify estimates of effort, schedule, human resources, and include as well your underlying assumptions. Number two, collaborate with the entire project team to get a better handle on the scope of the project. Discuss in detail or discuss in details all the information necessary with the project team before setting early expectations with senior executives. Remember, you have to uh, get the buy-in of key stakeholders during plan project initiation. Number two, clearly define the project scope. A while ago, the second reason of project failure is poorly defined project scope. How to get it right? Clearly define the project scope. Understand the project requirements and expectations of the client. This way, you can be certain that your project scope encompasses every detail and that there will be no confusion during project execution. That is the two important things. Number one, project requirements, and number two, expectations of the client. These two things are actually included in your CSF, or critical success factors, right? Project requirements and client expectations. That way, you are encompassing comprehensively the entire project scope. The first step is successfully managing a project is properly defining and planning. Defining scope is perhaps the most important part of the upfront process of defining a project because that is where we are working with the scope of the project. Okay? The purpose of defining the scope is to clearly describe and gain agreement on the logical boundaries of the project. Take note of that, logical boundaries of your project. Scope statements are used to define what is within the boundaries of the project and what is outside of those boundaries. Okay? Clearly define the project scope. Third, we also need to clearly define the goals and objectives. Clearly define the goals and objectives of the project and communicate these goals and objectives during planning phase and remove any assumption. Your goals and objectives should be specific. Okay? So how do we set your goals? Of course, we are all familiar with the SMART acronym. What the SMART stands for: S, specific; M, measurable; A, achievable; R, realistic; and T, time bounded. Okay? So when setting your goals, it should be smart. It means you clarify your ideas, you focus your efforts, you use your time and resources productively, and increase your chance of achieving what you want in your project. Okay? A goal in project management articulates the desired outcome. Project goals are high level and broad. That often requires a long lens view, okay, a long perspective. This is because they are the what of your project, not the how. Okay, it's what of your project. What does the project wants to achieve? What is the end goal of the project? Okay? While goals are broad and longer lens, project objectives are specific and consist of smaller tasks that work to serve the wider goals. It's the milestones of your projects or project. Goals are important, but the objectives are the gas that powers the engine. It is your milestone. Okay? Number four, embody effective leadership skills. A while ago, the fourth in the common reasons is ineffective leadership. How to get it right? Project manager should embody effective leadership skills. How well does the project performs is directly related to how effectively the project manager motivates and guides the entire project management team. Okay? There are many leadership styles and theories as to what factors make the best leaders. So some of these principles are commonly seen as vital to success. Number one, lead by example. Of course, you should set the bar high. You should set the standard. You should be the example. Okay, you should be the epitome of the project. Number two, leadership is about people. It's about your team. It's not about yourself. It's about the team and its success. Number three, focus on change. Okay, we already accept the fact that there will be a number of changes during the project implementation, and you should adapt to that. You should be amenable to that, and you should not be stressed when changes are happening on the projects. Number four, be human and admit mistakes. Do not be boastful. Okay, admit the mistakes and let it be corrected, not just by yourself, but by the entire project management team. Number five, understand the value of listening. Accept suggestions and recommendations from your project team. Okay, consider their ideas and recognize their good ideas as well. Number six, promote diversity. Your project management team is composed of several talents. Okay, you should promote diversity and promote and accept diversity. Number seven, work together to achieve more. Okay, no man is an island. They said we should work together. You should work together on your projects to achieve more. Number eight, have solid values. The core values. You should be the one to embody the core values of your organization. Pretty sure all organizations have their core principles and their core values. You should be the first one to embody and practice those core values. Number nine, use technology and innovation. You will be left behind if you will not make use of the trends and tenets in project management. There are a lot of technologies and innovations that are being introduced nowadays. You should learn and make use of those. Okay? Otherwise, you will be left behind. And number 10, help to develop future leaders. There should be an inspired leadership. Okay? Number 5, create a structured communication plan. Okay? This is how we get, uh, or this is how we correct the lack of communication skills. Okay? We create a structured communication plan. Okay? Projects are needing a steady stream of communication. Why? So that everyone in the team stay on track. Okay? We have mentioned a while ago that the project management team should be on the same page. Okay? Therefore, we need a steady stream of communication, constant and correct communication. How do we do that? We map out every task to get the project across the finish line and make everyone informed, always informed, involve them in the communication and coordination process. To communicate effectively, it helps to plan out what you want from your communication and what you need to do to get it. Communication is useful at all points in the project and organization's development. And it can help the word out about a new organization, renew interest in a long-standing program, or most of all, help attract new funding sources. Okay, so that's how we create a structured communication plan. Steady stream of communication, everyone is involved and always informed. Number 6, we clearly define the roles and responsibilities. In project, the overall success is a function of shared responsibility of the team, not of individual. I mentioned a while ago, there's no such thing as shared responsibility, meaning to say both of them are being held accountable for a particular or for a single task, right? But in the overall success, it is the shared responsibility of the team, meaning to say there is a teamwork. The team is working all together. It is because team performs most efficiently when the members share a common understanding of the roles and responsibilities of each other. It can help if we provide all project team members with a corporate induction and ensure that they are aware of their role within their immediate work team or unit, program area, and the broader organization. Second, we can assist team members to develop personal work plans that clearly define task objectives and expected outputs. It helps if you let your project management team understand what is being expected of them. Third, ensure all team members receive suitable training for their jobs. Trainings are necessary for every team members. Okay, there should be a leverage on their skills and on their talents. It will be beneficial on the project in the long run. And number four, develop and maintain a working environment where team members are consulted and can provide feedback on changes impacting on their job tasks. I've mentioned a while ago leadership skills that you should you should practice listening to your project teams. Consider their feedbacks as well as their criticism, their constructive criticism. It will help the entire project team. Okay. Number seven, effective risk management. Effective risk management gives you the resources to control. Okay, we have said that control is a part of the project life cycle, control and monitoring. And effective risk management can give you the resource to co- control as much as possible the unanticipated future outcomes by proactive actions. Effective risk management offers the potential to reduce both the possibility of a risk occurring and its potential impact. Okay? When we're talking about risk, we are talking about two things: the impact and the frequency, right? Risk management is the process of identifying, assessing, and controlling threats to an organization's capital and earnings. Not just the entire organization, but as also on the project and the project management team. Okay, so where does this risk stems out, or this risk coming from? It stems from a variety of sources, including financial uncertainties, legal liabilities, technology issues, strategic management errors, as well as accidents and natural disasters. And in risk management, one of the best known published discipline is the ISO, or the ISO 31000 standard, the risk management guidelines. It was developed by the International Organization for Standardization. Okay, and what is ISO 31000 risk management guidelines? So according to ISO 31000, there is a five-step risk management process comprising the following, and can be used by any type of entity or organization or project management team. Number one, you have to identify the risks. Number two, analyze the likelihood and impact of each one. Okay, that's why in ISO 9100 or quality management system, there is a term coined as risk registry. Okay, where you records the risks, the frequency, and the impact of each one. Okay. Number three, prioritize risk based on business objectives. Okay. The prioritization should be made according to the business objectives, or the project objectives, or the strategic objectives. These two things, the risks and the objectives, should be aligned. Okay. Your objectives should be the basis on prioritization of the risks. Number four, treat or respond to the risk conditions in accordance with the priorities set in number three. Okay, and number five, monitor results and adjust as necessary. So ISO 31000 risk management guidelines is a comprehensive reference when dealing with risk management. I strongly recommend each one of you, project managers, have a study, have a separate study about this risk management guidelines. It can help you a lot, not only with the projects, but also on the other endeavors of your organization, especially if you are also implementing quality management system on your organization. These two, these two guidelines will complement one another. And finally, number eight, create a good resource plan. At the start of the project, during the planning stage, list down the resources that the project will need. Okay, estimate how many of each will be needed and schedule them to meet your deadline. That means all the materials, tools, consumables, equipment, your entire inventory, and the people that are necessary to complete the project. A resource plan identifies a good our comprehensive resource plan identifies, organizes, and lists the resources required to complete a project. Because most organizational expenses are resource related, it is then essential that they are used efficiently as possible. They are utilized efficiently. A while ago, we have mentioned that when you are uh, creating your project schedule, each task and its subtasks should be allocated with the resources. That is one of the common problem. They are doing a project schedule. We will go back with the problem. A project manager and his team is creating the project timeline, but they are not allocating the resources. That's why later on the implementation, there comes the shortage or the insufficiency of the resources, no? The overlapping of the resources. Why? Because the project manager, has only considered one of the elements, and that is the time. But the resources were not considered and were not allocated efficiently. That's why during the planning implementation, the railing effect is observed and felt by the project teams. Okay, so take note that in creating a comprehensive resource plan, each of those elements, time, costs, and resources, should go together. Okay, what are the importance of a comprehensive resource planning? Number one, maximum resource utilization. You are maximizing your uh, resources, and it will give you a better return on investment or ROI. It ensures that specific resources aren't being over or underutilized. It allows project managers to be agile and reschedule resources as quickly as possible to avoid problems surfacing or becoming worse. Okay, that's number one, maximum resource utilization. Number two, on-time delivery. Okay, project resource planning is key to on-time delivery. Delivery projects on schedule helps build customer satisfaction and loyalty. Of course, it boosts internal morale and ensures future projects to start on time. Project resource planning is key to on-time delivery. Third, on-budget delivery. Of course, if you have on-time delivery, you could also possibly have on-budget delivery because resource planning is also the key to completing projects on budget. Without a clear understanding of resources and resource capacity, overspending might be incurred, which can cause project cancellations, missed revenue, and reduced profitability. Okay? Number four, predictable project timelines. A deep understanding of available resources and skill sets on your human resources allows you to estimate the amount of time required to perform individual tasks and to complete each project. That knowledge will enable you to plan well into the future as well as plan for changes, disruptions, or new opportunities. Okay, if you have implemented a comprehensive resource planning and there should be a changes in the scope, you can easily adjust. Okay, you will not be disrupted. Number five, improved project flow. Faster project flow is a result of good resource planning. Sometimes you are getting ahead of the timeline. When the right people work on the right projects at the right time, projects move forward at maximum speed and with less error or fewer mistakes. Okay. Number six, we have on budget delivery. I think this was repeated, but with a different uh, description. A shortage or excess of resources can be identified by comparing resource demand against existing capacity. And this can only be done during planning. That's why we are advocating a comprehensive resource planning. Okay? At the beginning of the project life cycle, we detect the lack of skill sets required for a future project and allows managers to bridge the gap. Okay? This helps prevent organizations from hiring new talent when the problem is simply a misallocation of resources. It also prevents companies from experiencing unplanned stoppage in production. Okay? That's why it's called on budget delivery because you can see uh, you can see okay the required resources right on time, okay, right at the beginning of the project uh, life cycle, and that is during the planning, okay? Because if you happen to see the problem at the middle of the project implementation, that's the time where cost will overrun. Okay, because you can no longer create a good decisions. Okay, that is also one of the importance of resource planning. It helps you in the decision making. Okay, and it bridge the gap. Okay, so in conclusion, we optimize project initiation and planning through identification of the common project mishaps or the common mistakes, and the basis is the organization, and that is the basis for the organization to grow in project management maturity through enhancing efficiencies. An optimized project management organization understands the demands of their businesses and ensures that all processes are efficient, effective, and consistent. The objective of optimizing project initiation and planning is to refine the project management process and to further improve the supporting project management infrastructure. This optimization served all the project stakeholders to accelerate their growth, maintain their transformational trajectory, and become more competitive within the project environment. That's our topic for tonight, for today. Should you have any questions, kindly uh, post it in our chat box and we will be answering that shortly after a while. Again, I am Engineer Rod Kenneth Vilubom, a registered mechanical engineering here in the Philippines. I am a former boiler and pressure vessel design engineer and a former project management supervisor. You can see on the screen my phone number and email address. You can always reach out to me should you have any questions or inquiries or collaborations. And you can also see my social media links. Okay, I have my LinkedIn. I also have my Medium account where I post some of my articles. I also have my Sandfox, so you can subscribe to my email newsletter. Okay, and I am also inviting you all early next year. Okay, I'll be publishing my first book, The Criteria and the Bottom Line. Learn the most in-demand engineering skills of the global industries. So I have made an interview of some of the renowned, not actually renowned, but some of the engineering managers and human resource professionals around the globe. No? I have interviewed 120 engineering managers and human resource professionals about the skills that they are looking for in the engineers in our modern global industry. So the result of the interview was transcribed or was translated into articles, and I found myself working on this book, The Criteria and the Bottom Line. Hopefully, I will be able to publish that in the first quarter of next year. This book was actually supposed to be published and launched this year, but because of our many engagements in some of our affiliations, I was occupied. But hopefully, hopefully, next year, first quarter, we'll be able to publish and launch this book. If you are interested, you can send me a message on my email, or you can leave your personal email in our comment section, so I'll can send you an update whenever this book is published and launched. So thank you everyone. Again, I'm extending my heartfelt appreciation to all of you, wherever you are in our in the earth. No? I believe we have audiences from North America and Africa as well. Our friends in PSME, Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, and to Engineer Jomark Bakiran and to his team. Thank you for inviting me share this topic to you guys. Just in case there are students that are listening to us tonight, hopefully we were able to inspire you to aspire to become project managers. No? The engineering industry, the global engineering industry is in need of project managers, highly aptitude project managers. And hopefully this topic helps you a lot. Again, thank you very much, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Thank you so much. Now, to answer the question is how initiation and planning affected. Can you please repeat the question, ma'am?
Of course. So, as a professional certain, how initiation and planning greatly develop your skills in the industry. Greatly develop.
Yeah, okay. Well, initiation and planning, as a we all understand, no, we all understand that this is the first two of the project life cycle. But planning is involved in every part of our endeavor, not only in the project management. Planning is essential to all types of management, business management, strategic management, marketing management. Planning is an essential blueprint. Now, uh, if you do, we have a saying that failing to plan is actually planning to fail, right? Meaning to say, if you have acquired the skills of doing a comprehensive plan, you can always thrive in any part of the industry, whether it's in the manufacturing, it's in the automation, it's in the maintenance. As long as you understand the basics and the importance of planning, you can always succeed in whatever field you wish to go. Okay, so that's how important is planning. And that's it. I believe there's a second part on the question. What is that, Miss Joe? They are asking
Your
for
experiences, certain, or any engagement in your industry so far.
previous industry. So some of our, or maybe one of our audience is curious to our or to my experience before. Well, I was a former project management supervisor. I started as a design engineer in a boiler and pressure vessel manufacturing here in the Philippines. We are the only boiler manufacturer that is certified by American Society of Mechanical Engineers. If you are a boiler manufacturer and you are certified by the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, meaning to say you have complied to the global standard in terms of boiler and pressure vessel. And here in the Philippines, we are the only one, or they are the only one because I'm no longer connected to them, but this company is the only one accredited by ASME. Okay, so I started there as a design engineer, and on July 2019, I was sent to South Africa to supervise the installation of two units of 18 tons per hour boilers. No? Those boilers were used for power generation. Imagine power plant generation. So we are building steam generation plant and steam power plant. We've stayed in South Africa for 10 months, and then when I came back here in the Philippines, I was appointed, or I was designated as project management supervisor. So I believe one of the blueprint that honed my promotion is my experience as a design engineer and field engineer. You know, one thing that is important for project managers, we have mentioned it also a while ago, is that you are highly technical. No, you understand first the product and how the product is being manufactured, how is it being installed. No, for you to become a project manager, a good project manager, you must be highly technical. You should understand first the process of manufacturing and installation. If you are blinded to that particular things, to those particular things, it will be hard for you to deal with the project management environment. So that's the first thing in project manager to become a good project manager, you must be highly technical, understand the entire manufacturing process. Okay, so those are my experience in project management, and currently I am the plant manager here in Delta LPG Enterprises. We are refilling, we are repairing, we are requalifying LPG cylinders. No? It's still related to pressure vessel because LPG cylinders are considered pressure vessel. And I'm currently taking a master's degree in master in project management. So those are my experience related to project management.
Thank you for that, for a very insightful answer, Sir Ken. No, and to what I have understood that your lessons from the college is very significant here in this industry because you have mentioned of the technicals and everything. So I think I have personally a takeaway from that. And for the next question, Sir Ken, we have here from Sir John Mortilia. He asked that, how do you deal, sir, with delays caused by a team member?
Yeah, I also read that question, and that's very interesting question, sir. No? But the question is, it says, how do you deal with the delays caused by a team member? So the question is, it's about a project delay, in particular with a team member. Does it mean that that team member maybe is uh, team member causing delay? Maybe he is what? Uh, he's not fulfilling his role, or he is lacking skills, or maybe he is hesitant or resistant to changes, or it might be an attitude, no, sir. If the delays is causing, or the delays are caused by an attitude of your team member, you have to talk to him. No, we have defined, we have discussed a while ago that everyone should understand the role and their function and the criticality of their individual role against the whole team. If that team member was not made to understand his role, then it's about time that let him understand it. Okay, discuss it with him personally that this is his role, this is his function, and if he is resistant to project, if he is resistant to his role, you might consider putting him into a new role. Okay, but that might cause slight disruptions because you know, you are allocating another responsibility to a team member, to an existing team member in the middle of the project implementation. But if he is still resistant, we are sometimes, pulling out, maybe meaning to say remove him from the project team member. That is somewhat acceptable, that is somewhat has been normalized in the industry. No, if a team member is being resistant or hesitant to accept his role amidst many discussions with him or adjustments that you have made, you might consider remove him from the team, from the project team, and put him into another team that might or that will not cause project delays or will not derail the delay anymore.
All right, Sir Ken. I think it is more than what tells out about our character, Sir Ken, no? And it
Yeah.
also tell us how our leadership is oriented. And of course, it is also very important that we should know what to tolerate and not, and what can we do to help a person and understand it as well. Thank you so much for that, Mr.
Mhm.
Ken, for that. I think we are all getting a lot of learnings here, not just in any industry, but also for ourselves and to our character development as well. So I think this is a last question, Sir Ken, for this talk. And for that, what would be the most significant contribution of project initiation and planning in contributing to the society as well as the industry, certain? What do you think for now?
Sorry, ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
What would be the most significant contribution of project initiation and planning in contributing to the society as well as the industry?
Yes, as I said a while ago, initiation and planning are the first two of the project life cycle. So if you have done it correctly, okay, you will be assured, you will be certain that the time and budget allocated for the project will be used effectively. On the other hand, if you do the initiation or if you do the planning, if you have taken it for granted, you will certainly incur budget overrun, no, project delays, which gives a negative image on your organization and on yourself as well. So if you have done it correctly right at the beginning, you can be certain not only you will gain profitability on your projects, but as well your reputation will become high. You will be renowned as a good project manager in the industry. You will gain more exposure and growth in the future. That's the best thing that doing correct initiation and planning can give a project manager.
All right, I agree to that, Mr. Ken. And I think we can entertain pa another question po. And this is from Miss Camille Pakun. So she asked that for a recent CE graduate, would you suggest to get into project management?
Civil engineering graduate, yes. Project management in civil engineering is commonly termed as construction management. Because construction is one of the common field for civil engineers. And the framework for construction management is somewhat the same with the framework of the project management. The principles, the ideas, as well as the terminologies itself are just common. So yes, I would suggest to get into project management. As I said a while ago, engineers are working with projects. Okay, just doing a floor plan is already a project. That's already a project. Installation of software is not a project, but running the installed software, that is a project. Okay. Now, in terms of civil engineers, construction of highways, okay, of transits, that is a project. Construction of green building, okay, vertical green building, that is a project. Okay, the ongoing construction of what's that? The Makati the metro railway transit, that is also a project. Okay, so civil engineers, you are commonly exposed to projects when you enter the engineering industry. So I suggest to engineer Camille, you explore the fields of project management. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to uh, Engineer Joe Mark Bakiran and to his team whenever you want to learn more about project management. I'm sure Engineer Jomark and his team will offer more topics, free webinars about project management in the future. You can always look out for that or reach out to me personally if you want to, so we can discuss more about project management. Okay.
All right. I think just my thoughts, Sir Ken Lubong, is that project management is doesn't really just limits in engineering as well, but also to any other profession.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
we
Project management is also IT, right? On our IT professionals, whenever they are developing a software, you know, uh, running a website, that is already a project. Actually, we have this term agile project management that originates into IT professionals. No? Even in the fields of finance and accounting, project management is also beneficial for them. Okay, yeah, I share the same thoughts with you. And let me also read this now from one of my good friend from Engineer Ryan Imperial on his comment. He said, I believe that adaptability, flexibility, and resiliency are the most valuable thing in project management. Yes, perfectly said. Because we have mentioned a while ago that we have already accepted the fact that change is inevitable, and that happens even on projects and project management. That's why we have this thing called change management. And if you are flexible enough, you can always make the necessary adjustments without derailing your project. If you are resilient, you can be strong enough to face adversities and challenges during the implementation of the projects. And if you have the adaptability, you can always make use of all the available resources, innovations, and technologies uh, around. You know, you can always make use of them to for the benefits and for the advantage of your projects. Thank you, Engineer Ryan, for your good insights, and I share the same thoughts with you.
goodbye everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.